You this morning. It's starting to look like a pretty morning outside. It's not going to be going there. When I got up this morning, my kitties were intense and they wanted food and they were kind of in my way. And trying to get out of the bed here, I smacked my toe on the coffee table and I broke the end of my little toe. Now, it does hurt. It is swollen and I can walk on it without a shoe. But wow, I put my shoe on just a little bit ago and I learned that I cannot put on my shoe. So I got a day off. Yes. Like I say, I can't put my shoe. Oh, man. And hold on. I got to bend it back the other way. I've not taped my toes together yet. That's something I'm going to do later. But my broken toe is kind of like trying to slide under this toe here, and I had to pull it back out, and I can't think now because despite my face, that really hurt. Hello, Mike. Hello, Michigan lady. Hello, Trixie. Hello, Hula. Hula, I broke my toe. My little one on the very end too. I mean, it's not a bad break, but I mean, I broke my little toe on the very, very end. And I can walk fine without a shoe, but I can't walk in a shoe. So I've kind of got a down day or two. Well, hello, Stacy. Well, the thing is it hurts, but it's kind of a silly injury because, like I said, I can walk fine without a shoe. So that just means I don't got to do any yard work today. Because, like I said, I can walk fine without a shoe, but when I put the shoe on, I can't walk. Hello, Kaz. Hello, Mimi. Well, because the kitties were in the way. I woke up. 3 kitties are here. Feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me like they are, and try to get out of bed when you're being jumped. And I smacked the end of my toe on the coffee table. And I broke it. And I getting kisses, because see, she's fed now. She's like, we're fed, we're watered, we have clean litter, we're all good. And you can see she's had all of her stuff, and she's been mean to the other kitties. And remember how I said she was just so acrobatic, and I thought she had lost some kittens? I think she lost them all. I think. Because Magnus, her boyfriend, was trying to boyfriend her yesterday. So I think that she might be in heat, so she has to stick with me. She still could, Magnus is basically a rich life of road trips. Sex obsesses that cat's life. And the funny thing is he was the only one that she would accept. She wasn't accepting him yesterday. She spent the whole day whipping his ass all over this house. And that's why you didn't have any real long live stream from me, because Richella was busy smacking Magnus all up and down this house. And since I don't want any more kittens, if she has lost them, I was sitting there and letting it happen. Because normally if there's bad behavior, I step in. But like I said, I consider that good behavior. I want her to keep that up. Hello, Loki. Hello, YouTube schizophrenic. No, I'm not in jail, but I did break my toe. And like I say, the cats are swimming around me. I wasn't awake yet. If you know how it is when you get up, you're not fully awake, and this tells me that I need to fully awake and ignore the cats. But they wanted fed that instant. So as soon as I got up, they were there doing this shit. So I immediately got up. Except when they're hungry, they stand, and then paw at me. When they lay and paw at me, they want love, like right now. But like I said, I can walk fine in the house without the shoe, but I put on the shoe to go out on the deck. Oh my God. I mean, my toe is still throbbing just from trying to take a few steps in that shoe. But like I said, I can walk because it's the very end digit of the little toe. I can walk fine without the shoe. It's just I can't walk in the shoe. Now, if my mother was alive, she would say, "You're lying. You just want to be lazy." I'm like, no. I mean, I really, because see, that was my mom. My mother was a hypochondriac. She'd make up anything to get out of anything. Or exaggerate something to get out of something. You're right, little kitty. Well, I'll be fine. Matter of fact, I did that about a little over an hour ago. So it's a fresh thing. And at first I said it's broke. Then I said it's not broke. And then I said it's not broken. And then I put on the shoe. And yeah, it's the tiniest. Like I said, the very end of the little toe. It's almost funny. Well, actually, I did giggle a bit until I stepped up on the shoe. Then all of a sudden, I'm wide awake. Now, I wasn't wide awake until I put the shoe on. That's why I'm laughing at myself. But yeah, I was in, and then I had a small bag of Doritos for breakfast because since I screwed up my toe, I wasn't going to cook this morning, so I just had a few Doritos. Now, okay, I had noticed people had finally got in here. Now, Ernie, Nicolina had called on him, and Ernie this whole time has been 5150'd in New York, which many times I don't care. If I don't need to know something, I don't need to know. In all reality, Ernie's whereabouts was not high on my mind because in reality, this is what Ernie wanted. And that's why Ernie went by the intersections and where he did and how he did, because he wanted someone to call on him. That I knew that just from the video. So Nicolina obliged him. So they picked him up right there, no doubt in that parking lot or right around it. But like I said, it was about 9:30 a.m. or so. So I'm sure after he clicked the thing off, he got breakfast. And then they probably picked him up and he went to the New York Happy Home. And since that was probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he's probably got about 28 hours left on his 72 hours. So, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, Ernie Shell could rear his head. And like I said, I didn't know until I needed to know, which many times that's how I like things, because then if there's a leak, you don't have to worry about who's the problem, because this only X and X knew. Hello, Princess. Now, this is Ernie's typical MO. I knew when, if you go back in me covering Ernie's escapades, you will know that I said it wanted someone to call on him, and he did. And he was walking fine. This was contrived by Ernie because he has court. Let me see, what day is it? The 5th. Yes, he has court in a week. Yes, Ernie has court in a week on his charges. Hello, Ruby. So he went to another state and went to the nut house. And he's supposed to be here in Madison County, Kentucky. Now, Ernie's in New York. Where Ernie is supposed to be in 7 days in the morning is Madison County is 14 miles that way. From where I'm sitting right now. Pointing in this direction, Madison County is 14 miles that way. The courthouse is about 24 miles from where I'm pointing right now. From where my butt is sitting as the crow flies. Now, if you drive there, it's about 45 minutes. But, in reality, miles-wise, it's probably about 25 miles from here to his courthouse. He's trying to get out of court, YouTube schizophrenic. And once again, it's a bad place to do it because back when I was doing gaming on a team, one of the girls that I used to game with worked in the New York Nut House. And I don't mean just a hospital psych ward like he's in, I mean the place that you get committed. And Ernie does not want to get into the mental facility in New York because he ain't going to get out. New York's big for putting you in the hole and keeping you in the hole. But considering that I know that Ernie has passed evaluations every single time, Ernie is going to pass this evaluation. Unless he intentionally botches it. Well, yeah, Ruby. They are YouTube schizophrenic. And because of me knowing this girl and gaming with her, I know that when they put you away in New York, it is a hellhole. Now, New York, because they have a propensity for putting people away, and because of New York corrupt politics, they get away with this hellhole. Now, this hellhole probably would not be gotten away with in the other 49 states. Once again, I didn't want to be hyperbolic in making the Ernie video because the reality of the matter is Ernie passes these evaluations like it's nothing because this isn't his first and he's never failed one. So, hello, Craig. So I don't expect that he will fail this one either unless he does it on purpose. You know, unless he jumps up to the desk and screams, I want to kill, I want to kill, I want to kill. Now, that's what one of my friends said, that if they ever tried to draft him, he was going to do. He said, I'm going to go in the desk and I'm going to jump up and down on the sergeant's desk screaming, I want to kill. Because he didn't want to go to war and he thought that the best way would be use reverse psychology and make it to where they like, we don't want this guy out here on the battlefield. Well, yeah, I mean, but like I mentioned, out of 50 states, the one place you would not want to get put away forever at is New York. Because she described her chores to me, and her chores could tell me that, she was doing her job, but the people were not being well taken care of forever. Those people are just put in there to die, to be drugged up and eventually die. She did her job. She did her job well. And oh my God, was she angry. If you said, who was the angriest person that you have ever seen in your life? It was her. Like I say, I'm leaving her names anonymous, and she was a very pretty blonde girl. Just saying. I mean, she was attractive material for everyone, but her job left her with the greatest anger issues that I have ever seen on this planet. Now, once again, you would think that the life that I lived, it would be some big biker guy. But no, 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 no. It was a registered nurse, 20-some years old, who was model pretty, that works in the New York Nut House at Bellevue. Well, like I say, but once again, if I wanted to make hyperbole about it, I would have said that kind of shit in a video. But like I said, unless Ernie intentionally says something to get him held more, he's not getting held. No, he's not. Now, the thing is, what I'm expecting, they will let him out tomorrow. And then he has another week. But I expect him to go back. I do. Even if he has to check himself in, is my theory. Now, once again, because his court's a week from now, he might be thinking, I need to get held another week. So he might say something stupid, excuse me, and get himself in trouble. That is a possibility. That is a possibility because he has another week. So once again, I expect him out tomorrow, but he has a week to get back to Kentucky. Now, he can get back to Kentucky within 24 hours by bus. Barely. But he can get back to Kentucky by 24 hours on the bus. If he leaves, say at Sunday night, he could be back here for court on a Monday morning. He would just be able to make it. If he had someone pick him up at the bus station in Lexington, he could just make court if he leaves Sunday morning to come to court. Or what day is it? I just realized, I know his court's a week from now, but Thursday. So I guess his court's next Thursday because I think it's the 12th. So it's next Thursday. But Wednesday. So if he leaves Wednesday morning, he can be here by next Thursday morning. Like I said, I just realized I don't even know what day of the week it is. The whole holiday kind of screwed me up. Well, Kaz, like I said, that's what I expected out of Ernie. It's just he did it too quick. Now, like I said, his timing of this is off by a bit. It should have been later. Now, there could be a factor we don't understand. Now, at first, when I saw his video, I'm like, is MAGA not picking him up? And then we saw him get in the Uber. And I thought, okay, Uber. And then he ran out of the Uber. So my guess is the Uber was supposed to take him to MAGA. Is my guess. But like I said, his time on this is off because once again, he's got a week to get back. And once again, the court can look at the bus schedule and say, well, Mr. Shell, you could have got on the bus at Wednesday morning and been here for court on Thursday morning. Now, once again, I have to mention all the paths, and one of the paths is he gets on the bus this coming Wednesday morning. I forgot Wednesday's past. So this coming Wednesday, he could get on the bus and he could be at court in a week. I do not believe so. The whole thing of where he talked about, with Duke talking about running. Because the reality of the matter is, if he doesn't come back to court and he stays in New York, and he gets ran through, New York would pick him up once. They would take him in, and then they would hold him, and then they would call Kentucky, and they'd say, Kentucky, do you want him? And then Kentucky, of course, because of finances, would say no, that we're not going to pay for his transportation because the state that wants you has to pay for the transportation. And Kentucky almost never does this. So this is why, in reality, if he doesn't come back, this is what would happen. He would get picked up once, whenever he's just ran through someday, and he would have to be held. And then as soon as Kentucky says no, they'd let him loose. And then after that, they would never pull him in on that again. Well, yes, YouTube's schizophrenic. Now, you see, many people run to where I am because it's a place where you can hide. And, Kentucky won't even, worry about reimbursement. They just won't extradite. Now, the problem for Ernie is he got in trouble here, like in reality. Well, the thing is, I wanted to say a joke, but someone would clip it and quote, he's threatening. This is a fun thing is, I mean, all these people are trying to say I've threatened women, and I've never threatened women. I've threatened to defend myself, but I've never threatened women. But that's the new thing. You know, exposing women's bullshit now is supposedly threatening them. Well, Alex, Ernie is a public guy, so I think we've seen them all. You know, Ernie does this for show. You know, Ernie don't do nothing that could give Ernie harm unless it's for show. But yes, Cass, but see, once again, his problem is, you know, he should have done this like Saturday. I mean, but this didn't work for, excuse me, I got burps. But this didn't work for Letitia. But once again, Kentucky would not bother with extradition. Hello, Cass. Yeah, Night Owl's right. The law don't care about mental problems. But what they do care about is finances and procedure. They care a lot about that. And like I said, as long as he's in another part of the country, Kentucky's not going to extradite. I mean, if he was in northern Tennessee, maybe. If he got caught in Cincinnati, maybe. If he got caught in Huntington, West Virginia, maybe. You know, places that are population centers like right bordering Kentucky, you know, they might. But usually people from Cincinnati could come down here and avoid statute of limitations and wait out their shit for 7 years. But in reality, but to see Ernie's doing this for you and me, in reality, that's why he did this, was Ernie's ego. Because as I mentioned, you know, I could commit crime X. And unless it's a capital crime, you know, like arson or Mordor, they're not going to extradite. And I could live on the YouTube schizophrenic's couch. In Kentucky would never extradite, using that as an example. But I'm not going to do anything like that. But like I say, you know, Ernie in New York didn't have to do this. Ernie did this because he wants to shape things in your mind. He doesn't want to say, I just didn't show up to court. Where, you know, once again, if I went to the YouTube schizophrenic's couch rather than face justice, I would go, yes, I skipped out on court. In Kentucky will never extradite. Ha 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 ha. At worst, I'll get picked up for a few days and let go. And then I won't be bothered again. And I just won't ever be able to go back to Kentucky. Kill me. Yes, I would just be banished from the state of Kentucky. I mean, wow. That means I'd have to go to someplace else that isn't Kentucky. Yes, YouTube schizophrenic. But then I could wait out the charge or the shit for 7 years and be done with it. This is Richella. Baby Richella. She says, I'm sleepy. She was one of them that wanted to be fed and made me whack. Well, I sleepy whack my toe, but she was one of them badgering me this morning. And now that she's fed, you see, she's like, I just want to lay here and sleep now that I've been fed. She says, I've been fed and I'm fat. And that was about a couple minutes after 8, I think, that I did that. So, I mean, she like ate and then immediately came here and go back to bed. She couldn't wait for me to get up. They had to get me up to feed them. Now see, normally I've been getting up way before dawn, but I didn't today. Yes, I didn't get up at the crack of dawn today, or before dawn today. So it was a little bit past their feeding time. So, they were letting me know that. But yes, Karen, and that's what I expect. Now, once again, if he was trying to use court or the mental institution to get out of court, he did it on the wrong day. So, one, he's stupid. Let's pass this out. One, he's stupid. Or two, he only went to the mental ward for show. So, when people would go back and say, Ernie, you skipped your court date, he could give you a story. Now, he could. Now, see, I know he's on a 72-hour hold. When he gets out, he might not say anything. If he wants you to think that he's in the institution the next week, he might not show up at all for the next week. But by tomorrow, mid-afternoon, he will have been his 72 hours and he will be out. Now, once again, one of two things. He will have a live stream sometime tomorrow evening telling his story, or he will keep silent through court. Because this is why, because originally I was going to have this just as a chit-chat live. But I thought, well, you know what? Ernie might go silent. And that's why I thought, well, you know what? I really should have an idle chat and mainly discuss Ernie. Because at first I didn't think there was much to say, but when I thought about it for a while, because this is something that I half expect. I half expect he will get out tomorrow. He will wait another week. It all depends on his ego. Does he need the ego fixed tomorrow, or can he wait a week? Okay, I didn't know that, Ruby. I didn't know if he did that exactly the last time. Well, if that's the case, then this is in his playbook. Because if they do something once, they're likely to do it again. So, yes, that's why we're here, because there were people, including some of his mods, that were making up Ernie as hurt stories and in the hospital, making it sound life and death. And that's when Nicolina talked about it. And at that moment, I'm like, well, I need to come over here and do a quick Ernie update just to debunk everything. Because you heard my update, there's nothing to worry about. And I didn't go into these details because I didn't want to seem hyperbolic. Because once again, that's what live streams are for, where we can talk about the more fringe thoughts. Well, yeah, Papalina, my lovely Stacy. That is what they do every time. And once again, that's why I have had to do a little bit of Ernie content, because, in reality, I wasn't going to do any Ernie content right now, because I knew Ernie wasn't in any trouble. I knew what Ernie was doing. And if Nicolina didn't call on him, he would have done something to have got that call on him. So, that's the thing, is anyone that wants to criticize Nicolina for this, the fact of the matter is, this is what Ernie wanted. He walked past places, and he literally spotted himself the entire time on purpose. And that was because he wanted called on. And he was walking fine. And like I said, he got out. You know why he got out when he did? Because he was at a big intersection that he knew he could easily spot himself at. Something beeped. Did anyone interesting just come on? Well, not on that one anyway. Because I also was trying to see if there was any audio or anything, but now this first of the year, there's not been many people doing mornings. So just as a programming update, I have noticed that there is a gap in the mornings. So I am going to be doing a lot more earlier live streams because once again, nobody seems to be on early in the morning. And I am going to start trying to find entertainment options to where usually in the evening, I like to run audio and I usually don't in the morning. I'm going to kind of flip that. I'm going to start taking more of my idle talks in the evening, and I'm going to start having some more audio to review in the morning. Well, yeah, Kaz, I mean, he's going to come back. Oh, man. Hello, Phantom Faye. Well, thank you. Now I can sing too. That's where I actually learned to project my voice. In your back alley. Damn, I'm hoarse. Well, I was going to try to sing, but my voice is not up to it this morning. It wants to crack. Yes, my voice this morning wants to crack. I was about to sound like a 13-year-old boy. Maybe I'll sing later. Oh, Shani, she still has her youthful endurance. I mean, Shani's going to be around for a long time. Now, Amberlyn Reed, she's got about 10 more years left. Give or take a couple. But Shani's not as heavy as Amberlyn Reed. But no. Damn. It's the whole terms of. I was thinking of something to say, but it's like, no, that's against terms of service. Well, put it this way. Rev has been a beaten, abused man for so long. And maybe one day, Rev will one of two things. Rev will drop a set and defend himself. And in that case, Shani will go to jail for murder. Yes, because one day, Rev is going to say, I'm not taking this anymore, and or defend himself. And then at that point, Shani will annihilate him and that will sit on him. And then that will be the end of Rev. And then Shani will go to jail. Now, I don't know what year that is on my card, but that is in my future card. For Shani to abuse Rev and Rev to defend himself and Rev to be a victim of domestic violence and become a statistic. Hello, Ghost Voice. Well, no, Lori, we were speculating, because Hula Girl was asking a question about Shani for Christ while I was talking about Ernie. And I had basically already, now I will swing back and review what I talked about Ernie in just a moment, because I always do that for everyone coming in. But we are already at the point of digressing for a moment, and I was answering other questions. And Hula was wondering when Shani was going to drop because of her lifestyle. And I said I expect Shani to live for a long time, and I expect that at some point in life, Rev will defend himself from Shani, and Shani will annihilate him, and then Shani will go to jail. That's my prediction on the Shani arc. At some point, Shani will go to jail, and it's likely because she's going to kill Rev at some point. And that's what we were talking about. Well, hello, Nicolina. No, Shani for Christ. I used to cover her on my other channel, and many times she's God, and sometimes she's Jesus. So, once again, I'm kind of, in reality, because, Hula and I know her, I probably should have framed that a little better and did that. It's just, I covered Shani since her start. My first channel, I had one. You remember I said I don't worry about subscribers? My other channel, I had one rule. I just want to have more subscribers than Shani for Christ, because our channels were always comparable. And once again, mine, I always tried to keep mine just a little bit ahead of hers. And my other one got up to a little over 3,000. But that because because I've known her for so long, like I say, throughout my YouTube career, our other channels were parallel. And now she was also a Dirty Deleter in one of my Oh My God streams. Her son was in trouble. And her son had talked to a counselor and had said some things. And Shani and Rev is a monster. And they have the kid coming back from school in the back seat of the car, the young teenager. And both of them are in the front. And they are screaming at the top of their lungs that the internet did this to their kid with the kid in the back seat. And Rev put it in Shani's mind that you and I, the viewers out here, were worshiping Satan and putting suicide thoughts in her son. And he convinced Shani of this. And with this kid in the back, they had an epic drive of them shrieking that we were putting self-harm thoughts in her son's mind by worshiping Satan. Okay, that's about it. I mean, yes, I think I've conveyed that accurately. Yes. Yeah. I didn't miss anything. I didn't say that wrong. I didn't convey that. But yes, that was, one of the epic videos I had on my other channel. Then, of course, they dirty deleted it. Oh my God. I mean, I'm just, that was in the back of my memory and just kind of remembering it all. It's fucking surreal. Seriously. But yes, like I said, because I've known Shani for Christ so long on YouTube, I didn't do my job properly by framing her. So now you have your framing. And on the Verily Veronica channel, as Verily Veronica, I will still cover Shani because she's on Twitch. And it's never ending stupid with her. I mean, Revelation News, that's her husband. He still has a channel and he comes on and begs for her food. But where I will put useful things on the wish list, like a flat of pineapple, food. They beg for fast food and pizzas. Constantly Rev is coming on begging for Shani a pizza. Now, the last pizza he got on after, and he complained about the toppings because it was too spicy. Well, once again, I didn't want to overload you, YouTube schizophrenic, but I will show you a re-upload channel that re-uploads her stuff for content. Today I linked because someone told you about Adrastia. So I linked to you the Adrastia, and I linked you the Letitia. Because Adonis Paul has basically documented her from beginning to end. So in like 6 hours, you can basically get her whole story if you want it. And then there's 3 parts to Adrastia's, and the first 2 are available because Adrastia deletes everything. So to learn everything from Adrastia, you really have to watch those. Actually, Ruby, 70K. Now, everyone, this is a put down your drink warning. No, Ruby, it wasn't 70K. It was $700,000. Yes, it was not 70K. It was $700,000. And that's not all of it. He actually does have some money that he can't get out of a trust. And also, it would probably come to where they bragged on having $1 million, back when they hooked up together. Shanny, we have $1 million. Now, we have, through receipts, allotted $700,000. And also the car was bought out of another fund. So that showed that there was more assets, like the rumor had said. And he still has some money left that he can't get at. And Shanny's basically been milking him for everything that he could since they have been together. Well, yes, I know, you do your business well, but, once again, I can show you the most concise places, and I've known Leticia for a long time. I was like her 220 some subscriber back during her cuddle days. It's just, there really wasn't much content to do about the cuddle girl, because that's what she was at the time. That was before the frozen puppy girl. The day that she said that she froze puppies, I'm like, well, this little old cow is now going to be a big old cow, because the entire internet is now going to destroy her. And I knew that at that moment. Yes, YouTube schizophrenic. And so's Adrastia, because Adrastia has a body count. Now, once again, I'm not going to tell you anything about that. It will be in the first part of the Adrastia story on Mayo #1. And Adonis Paul will tell you all about the murder of Roberta Laws. Now, let me go back to Ernie and do my recap. Ernie is in New York. He's in the middle ward for 72 hours. And as of right now, he's probably got about 28 more hours on his hold. Now, Nicolina did call, but Ernie wanted someone to call. I analyzed that video well. He was walking fine. He was walking straight. He was in the Uber, and when he got to the first big intersection, he got out, and then he intentionally spotted himself. He intentionally went to a shopping area. He intentionally spotted himself and stopped it. Ernie got what he wanted. No one can throw a stone at Nicolina. Ernie wanted this. And I really do kind of expect he will be out tomorrow afternoon. And if his ego gets to him, we will hear from him. If not, I expect him to go silent for a week and miss court. Well, Lori, he's not going to, Kaz, they're taking money from everyone. Now, once again, I've been keeping, because I'm going to cover them on Verily Veronica. They're in cigarettes. Both of them are sitting there, fat as can be, playing video games on a couch and smoking cigarettes. And once again, that tells me they're grifting just fine. And I will be covering them mainly on the Verily Veronica channel. And if they ever get popular again, I'll talk about them here. But there's some people that I'm going to be talking about specifically on the Verily Veronica channel, and they're going to be one of them. But, Ernie's playing his hide from court. And like down here, Kentucky's not going to extradite. Ernie didn't have to do this. Because like I said, I could go to another state on any one of your couches if I was wanted for anything but capital. If I was wanting for arson or murder, Kentucky would say, send him. But if it's not arson or murder or a capital crime, Kentucky's not going to extradite. So once again, I could have went on to Kaz's couch and I could say, yes, I didn't go to court. And yes, F them. And yes, Kentucky will never extradite. And I'm also never going back to Kentucky. Oh, hurt me. And that's all I would have to say. All I have to go is go, nah, 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 nah. And you know what? I didn't think about that. I should have did that in the beginning, because in reality, that is all Ernie has to do, is not come back to Kentucky and go, nah, 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 nah. That's it. I mean, he doesn't have to justify anything. All he can say is, Kentucky won't extradite. That's it. And it's true. Kentucky's not going to extradite over this. Well, Lori, I don't. I don't think he will either. But this is what it is. He is doing this for you. You know, this whole thing, because he doesn't want you to think, you know, he wants the excuse for it. You know, like a little kid. Like I said, if I had the same level of felony charges as he has, and I wanted to skip out, I would. And I would go, yes, and I am. And nah, 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 nah. And Kentucky won't extradite. And have a nice day. And what do we want to talk about? What are you going to have for dinner? I mean, that would be the conversation. I mean, yes. And I'm not going back to Kentucky. So, I mean, and that's all Ernie has to do. But he's worried about what you think. So, like I said, at the time he went, you know, it doesn't make sense because he has to be there next Thursday. He's got it in a week. So that's why I expect that we won't hear anything from him in a week. And that's kind of why we're talking about Ernie live, because I expect him to go dark. Now, if his ego gets to him, if he gets really bored, he'll come on live. And then he'll just lie again, because that's the kind of person Ernie is. I mean, he will just pathologically make up whatever he needs to at whatever time to justify whatever. Well, you see, because that's why I'd mentioned, you know, no one can go back and find out that you were in a street gang, you were in a biker club. I mean, you know, I freely admitted it all. And I've admitted that I don't do that anymore. I mean, in 2001, I had to start taking care of my mother. That kind of ended my criminality right there. You know, it's hard to be a hardcore criminal and a caregiver at the same time. You know, caregiving ended my criminal career. Oh, yeah, they swatted Jason. You know, once again, because you see, they want people like me to make lives, you know, screaming at the top of our lungs. But yes, they swatted Jason. And only a few people had his information. And you can guess who one of them was. And I've already called my local police and informed them that if anybody's out here over internet bullshit, I'm suing everyone. I'm suing the cop. I'm suing the sheriff. I'm suing the county. I'm suing the sheriff department. I'm suing whoever I called. I'm suing YouTube. And I'm suing whoever incited that person to call. And the reason why I said all of those is to get back to the YouTube viewer that incited it. I would have to go through that chain of suing. Well, things down here, YouTube schizophrenic. Well, I will tell you a story. Now, this has been years ago. My mother had just barely went to the nursing home after she had her stroke, and I had just moved back into this place full time. Now, I had a cop knock on my door Saturday morning, wake me up. Is a problem, officer? He had the wrong address. And he was sure I was the man he wanted. So he made me go in and get an ID. He was a disrespectful asshole to me the whole fucking time. He was a dickhead. This deputy is known around here as a problem. This deputy beats people around here. Now, this deputy was an asshole to me the whole way. I acted like I was hiding someone when that son of a bitch was at the, you know how there's even and odd addresses? I'm not going to even, but what the address he would have wanted would have been on the other side of the street, because he was looking for one type of address and I have the other. And I explained to him that you're at the wrong house. And he was determined that he was not at the wrong house. And he threatened me during this too. Yes, he did. After he found out, I told him, you better not come back here. And then he physically threatened me. And then after he left, I picked up the phone and I called the sheriff himself. And I explained what that deputy, and I gave him his name, and exactly what that deputy said. And I told the sheriff this. I'm like, sir, after he made threats to me, if that boy shows up here, I will have to treat him like a hostile. And at that, you could tell he got pretty unhappy. And you know what he said to me? He said, "Don't worry, Mr. Brown. I will take care of it." And I went, "Thank you, sir. I will take you at your word." And I said, "I'm sorry I had to call you with this problem, but thank you very much. I will take you at your word that you will handle this, and have a good day." And I have not had any more trouble out of the sheriff's department since then. And that deputy has never come back here. And that deputy has been told that he is to never step on my property, because if he is, he will see Jesus. Because once again, he has physically threatened me. And even the sheriff knows this. So once again, now there's been other sheriff's department people out here, but that one individual deputy is banned from my property, because we have an agreement that once again, after he physically threatened me, this one that does go around and beat whoever he wants, that, he would be treated as a hostile. So, like I said, we have an agreement. I don't do anything to bring them out here, and they don't come out here. Now, also, the local constable, because see, out here, we don't have a police force. We have a constable. And my closest neighbor is his mother. And they fish in my pond. So, once again, law enforcement knows there's nothing insidious going on here, considering the duly appointed person here to enforce the law fishes in my pond. Whenever his mother, well, actually it's his, I didn't think about it, but his kids, because his mother takes care of his kids, and they have kitties over there. And sometimes their kitties come over here. And I had a video, last winter, of two of their kitties that came over here. Or no, it was spring. Yeah, I think it was their spring. Two of their his daughter's kitties came over here, and I found them. So like I say, whenever they're missing their kitties, his mother will get her in a golf cart and come over onto my property and looking for the kitties. So, I don't really have to worry about that. And once again, I've made it perfectly clear to the dispatchers, because the sheriff himself, he already knows all of this. But, I made it clear to the functionaries underneath him that deal with the day-to-day calls, what the repercussions are. And once again, I guarantee they have been told. And everyone that calls will have been scooted around. Now, once again, if my neighbor calls, the law is going to come, because for one, the law is her son. And that's the only way that law is coming out here. Well, yes, Kat, that was Tyranny. That was an old re-upload from my other channel. And I put it on the Thanatos channel, and I'll probably hide it. But yes, that was because remember I said I think that Summer was a stolen kitten and brought in because Tyranny steals kittens. And Tyranny went to the neighbors and lived. I've not seen Tyranny in 6 months. I could hear her over at the neighbors fighting, but I think she went over to the neighboring colony and took over. Because like I said, she steals kittens. If she finds kittens, she will sit with them. And that's why she went to the neighbors. Because I guess she found kittens over there. And she'll sit with them. I mean, like the wildcats that are here, every one of them, she pretended they were her kittens. And so, if anyone ever asks what happened to Tyranny, she found some kittens and she's no doubt living with them. Because, over at the neighbor's farm, because like I said, she loves babies and she'll just follow them to death. I mean, everywhere she goes, she will follow the babies. And it's like Rachella's father. She was one that she basically adopted. He's a litter of 3 wild ones. And she basically went outside and acted like those were her kittens, after they were weaned. And she just acted like those were her kittens. Oh, Buttercup. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you came in. I'm going to do a thank you video for you because in reality, you've helped me out a lot. And you wouldn't believe how much, everyone here, you wouldn't believe how much Buttercup has helped me. But I'm going to do a video thanking her because I've been doing small thank you videos and she needs a big thank you video. And I've been doing some of them in shorts, but my thank you video for Buttercup is going to require more than a short. Yes, because like I say, my normal thank you vids, I decided to do them as shorts, but my thank you vid for her cannot be done within a short. Well, she's helped me out with some amazing things, like the bread maker. Bread is went up to here like $3 for a pack of hamburger buns. I mean, it's insane. But the bread maker allows me, whenever I don't have bread, I can make some bread. It's a nice thing. I mean, I thought the loaves would be a little bit bigger, but you know what? When I don't have bread, I can make my own bread and it's better. And it's very nice. And she bought me a good pair of shoes, and those are my only good pair of shoes. I mean, if it wasn't for Buttercup, I would be wearing a glued together pair of shoes. Hello, Pindar. My toe is killing me. For those that don't know it, I broke my toe this morning. And it was just reminding me of it. Now, it wasn't sitting here, but it just wanted to start throbbing. And it's like, wow, that hurts. But I did it like 2 hours ago. It's like, wow, that's an interesting feeling. When you get that hurt and all of a sudden it's like everything that you're thinking is gone. It's like, who am I? Where am I? I'm glad I peed before the live stream. Put it that way. Well, the kitties wanted fed when I first got up, and I smacked the end of my little toe on the coffee table. And I only broke the very end. In Pindar, I can walk fine without a shoe. I just can't walk with the shoe. So I'm not going to be doing any outside stuff today. Is Pindar a part of, Pindar helping me? You guys don't know, but I inform her of my projects, what I'm doing. So it's not like I'm just sitting around and doing nothing, because I'm always doing a little something to advance myself. But lately I've been working outside when the weather has been allowing it. But I can't wear that shoe. So Yeah. So I'll be inside today, and I really don't have much to do inside, really. I mainly need to be outside, so. So it just, that's kind of got a sit around day, and I got to tape my toes together after this. And I have to cook myself something to eat. Well, it was just because the kitties were in my way. Uh, I got up like, normally I get up well before dawn. I didn't get up till a few minutes before 8 today. So I was hours late getting up for the kitties. So they were just feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. And as you can see, she's fed in. You know how animals are with their dinner time. They like that being fed before dawn. It's like the sun came up and we're not fed. 2 hours ago, she wouldn't leave me alone. And you too. Here's Summer. We didn't Summer. These were two of them. Now, Fulgrim was the third one. Summer. You see everybody? You interested in YouTube? You ate? You getting sleepy? And that's it too. They're all getting sleepy and they're coming back to bed. At the moment, I got to get up. Well, it's okay, Intuitive. You're my sweet baby. No, because nobody's taking any of my animals. Because anybody that comes out here, I will throw them straight off the farm. Cop or not. Yes, I mean, anybody that comes off this to this farm, they had better have a fucking warrant signed by a judge. Because if there ain't a warrant signed by the judge, I will remove anyone on this property. If they've got a fucking badge or not. Just saying. Because at once that they have went past probable cause, they have no right to be here. You see, you don't understand that. Because the reality is once their probable cause is, they've got no right to be there. And even if they're a cop, they're a trespasser at that point. And you can tell them, see, because I took law enforcement 1 and 2, I know when their probable cause is gone. And I look right at them in the face and say, you have no problem, like that cop that threatened me. You have no probable cause to be here now. It's time for you to go. And that's when that one cop threatened me physically. And that he would do whatever the hell he wanted. And I said, I will sue you so fast you think your name will be Born Defendant. And at that point, he muttered more threats and went to his cruiser and left. Because as I said, I know when their probable cause is over. And at the point their probable cause is over, well, you know what? Trespassing laws apply to the cops too. Well, actually, a lot of them on the property are not my pets. Now, my older ones, they're all fixed. And they're passing on one by one. And, I've not said it on YouTube, but I'm worried a little bit about Tiger. I'm watching him. If he seems to have any problems, I'm going to have to try to find a way to get him to the vet. But like I say, I've got 5 of my animals are very, very old. I mean, if these 5 are alive in 3 years, it would be amazing, because of their lives. Like I say, my old ones are all fixed. And we have one of our YouTube friends that were talking about getting Summer and her to the vet. And I'm going to get some, because I'm probably going to have to do it 2 cats at a time. I'm planning on fixing Summer first and Elric, her son. Well, the thing is if anyone was to destroy my life here, I'd go straight to their place and destroy their life. This is the thing. I used to be in a gang. If you take anything that I love, well, if someone was to take everything that I loved, well, I simply would take everything that they loved. I mean, how stupid could you be? I mean, in reality, if you want to talk drama for a moment, anyone that would take everything of mine, I would take everything of theirs. That is the law. That is the Darwinistic law. The aggressor sets the rules. And if you set the rules to where you're going to try to hurt me in every way and destroy me and harm me in every way that you can, well, that goes two ways. And I don't have any family. And they do. So, that's pretty stupid on their part. So, that's how it comes. Well, Ernie needs you, Thelma's therapist. He's being evaluated in the happy home for 72 hours. And he's got about 28 more hours there if you want to get to New York and ask him questions. And then Ernie will probably go into hiding. And then he will miss court. And then he will come back and tell you giant stories. And if Ernie gets bored tomorrow evening, he'll come on and make up some stories, and then he'll make up another story. Like I say, Ernie will either disappear for a week or you'll hear from Ernie as soon as he gets bored, and then he'll make up another bullshit story. Well, the thing is like the slander on me, shit's been getting pulled down on him left and right. And in reality, I wouldn't doubt if Cyanide Cupcake got a strike or two. Yep. That's the other thing that I wouldn't doubt. And I wouldn't doubt if old Darren, because I'm not sure on which Watts got taken down and struck. Because there was a lot of things there that were against community guidelines. So those didn't have to be filled out. Some of them were just so slam dunk, YouTube was quickly pulling shit down. So once again, both old Darren and Cupcake could have got struck. I don't know whose witches and Wattses went down, but I know there was a bunch of shit that went down attacking me because once again, it was so against terms of service. So I don't know if they got, because they're not struck channels before. I don't know if they got struck or if they just got warnings. Well, like I said, anybody shows up on my property, I will throw them off. I won't put up with bullshit. Unless someone from law enforcement comes here with a signed warrant from a judge, they don't get to do what they want. And then they only get to do exactly what it says in the warrant. Other than that, once their probable cause is over, like anyone else, I will throw them off the property and then I will sue them. And I always have enough hay in the barn to start suing them. Because of the way that life went, if I could get a few animals here, I would. So I have some hay saved for them. And in the hay is, well, over $30 a roll. So if you get 10 rolls of hay, that's $300 of hay. That does add up. And that's why your beef prices are so much. Well, Hula, I'm out here all by myself on 20 acres. And this last year in Floyd County and nearby county, the cops decided, they have to do their cop job sometime. So they went for an actual domestic violence warrant, and they went to go get someone, and he resisted. He shot 5 of the cops. Once again, the cops were not doing wrong. The cops came out here for a lawful warrant for someone that was guilty, and he shot 5 of them. Where I live out here, it's not the world you live in. And this is why they don't want to come down that road. Because, once again, you never know what's on the other end of that road. You don't know if it's a disturbed meth addict with an AK-47. Or worse, a hunting rifle with a scope on it. So they don't want to come out here because, once again, they never know what's going to be here. Now, that what does come out here is the county assessors. Every year, there'll be 2 nice ladies in a county vehicle that will come out here and assess the value of my property. And you know what? These women get to see everything. Like all these claims, like I said, every year there is a county assessor, 2 really nice middle-aged women that come out here and assess the value of my property. And they are very nice. And once again, if all of their accusations was so, the assessors would see it. And this is why if they come out here, I'm like, well, the assessors are here every year and they don't have a problem. So obviously you have no probable cause to be here. So it's time for you to leave now. And that's how that goes. And then the Roger says, well, if you don't leave, I'm going to have to call the police and have you arrested because you're trespassing. And then if there's any threats or anything else, and you see, Kentucky also has another law. I love this law. It's regarding animals and property. You see, Miss Cupcake doesn't know about this one. If anyone is trying to harm my animal, I can cap you as a farmer. If you're trying to hurt my goat or my moo or my barn cat, because that is a farm animal too, I am lawfully allowed to draw my weapon, to hit that safety off, and to use that to defend the life of my animal. Yes, I am. You see, Kentucky, there's some good reasons to live here. And one is, if you are trying to harm my animal on the farm, I can shoot you. All legal like. Hello, Ronnie. Well, actually, this is new. Well, newer. This is around 2008, they passed this law. And literally the law states that a farmer is allowed to defend his animals with force if needed. Now, once again, you got things like cows and goats. Now, the barn cat that hunts the mice, that too is a farm animal. Yes, it is. So, once again, under the letter of the law, a farm animal. This is a farm animal. It hunts the mice. In reality, if I had under 5 cats, it would be a health hazard because this place would get just overran with mice. Until I got 5 cats, I had serious mouse dropping issues in my other trailer. But around 2001, I ended up with 5 cats. And then I didn't have any more mice problems after that. And I also learned that anything more than 5 cats is a burden. So in reality, if I had a choice over time, I would have 5 cats or so. Give or take one. And as I mentioned, I have a dozen, and I've got 5 that are very old. As I said, that will not be here in the next 3 years. So, like I said, within 3 years, because of, ages, I'm going to have 5 that are going to pass. And all 5 are brother and sister. And they're all fixed. Because once again, all of them are brother and sister. So once again, and then I will be down to 7 cats, and that's why I don't want any more litters here. And the reality of the matter is, our local shelter stopped taking animals during COVID. And this is another reason why they're not going to entertain any of this bullshit. Because the reality of the matter is, some of these animals would have been at the pound if they were taking animals when they were kittens. But they were not taking animals, and I still don't even know if the pound is taking animals here. So once again, they're not going to enforce any bullshit from people on the internet. And like I said, I will throw anyone off this property that needs to be thrown off this property. And that's kind of the end about me. And if anyone wants to, because we got 81 here and the haters will be here, it stands. Any man that wants to meet me in Mount Vernon for a one-on-one, we can do that. But I'll tell you right now, I'm going to win. Just telling you that now, because I grew up on Vine Street in Cincinnati, where every day when you walked out of your house, your life was in jeopardy. And I lived for 25 fucking years on Vine Street. From 3 years old to 28. I lived in an extremely dangerous place where you might have to fight for life, literal fight for life on any given day. So once again, if any internet punk wants to make a date in Mount Vernon and have a one-on-one, it can happen. But of course, I will have cheats on hand in case someone wants to come with a group. Because, you can use a firearm in defense of another. You see, this is another thing where Cupcake was lying about. No, I mean, if there's 5 guys beating the hell out of you, I can draw a weapon and tell them to cease and desist. And if they don't cease and desist at my cease and desist warning, well, then I can cap somebody. And that goes for you too. You see, if you have a firearm and there are 6 people beating the hell out of someone, you draw that off firearm, you take that safety off, and you give them a cease and desist warning. And if they do not cease and desist and they continue to harm this person and threaten their life, you're clear to use that firearm at that point. Like I said, I know all of my lawful uses of force. When I took law enforcement 1 and 2, I know what all of my lawful uses of force are. And like I said, even a cop, at the point he's a trespasser, at that point, he just becomes someone for me to take that gun away from. Like say, that one deputy want to come back here, I would take his gun from him and send him on his way. Because where I used to live, yeah, I've never been shot. I've had plenty of guns pulled on me. I have never been shot because I always win the game of get the gun. Like I said, I grew up on Vine Street in Cincinnati. Well, there's plenty of places around here to disappear, human being. Just a moment, I got kitties coming in. Some of you coming in, or are you just going to stand there and look at me? She says, I want her out of my lap. She says, the damn thing's in my lap. Oh, you want up here. She's jealous. She wants to be where Richella is. Now she hopped down and is pouting. we've got drama. Yep, Summer is pouting. Aren't you, Summer? But yeah, now recap because people are coming in. Ernie is in a 72-hour hold. He'll be out in about 28 hours. And he'll be live tomorrow if he's bored. And if not, he'll hide for a week and then make up an excuse on why he didn't go to court. Now, he is in New York, and obviously by going to New York, he has no intention on coming back because his court is within a week. You know, it's 7 24-hour periods and 23. Well, no, 6 24-hour periods and a 23 because I think it's like at 9 or 9:30 a.m. and it's 10:30 now. But he's worried at what you will think, where once again, I know Kentucky's not going to extradite. So if I got in trouble here, I could just go to another state and just say, yes, and Kentucky won't extradite. And and that's all Ernie has to do. Ernie can just come on and say, yes, I'm not going back. And and there's nothing you can do about it. Except when they run through Ernie in New York, they'll hold him. And then they'll call Kentucky and say, do you want him? And Kentucky will say no. And then within 72 hours, Ernie would be back on the street. And this would happen once. And then when they would see that again, they would also see that Kentucky didn't extradite the first time. And they'll say, here's your ID, Mr. Shell. And then after that, he would go on his way. So by skipping court, all he's got to do is go to jail once for a few hours, within 72, not even 100 hours, not even 76, within 72, he would be right back out on the street. And then, like, say, if he goes to California, he'd get picked up in California. Well, they would see that Kentucky warrant, and they would do that again. So Ernie might have to do that dance with every state he goes to live. But I think he's planning on going to New York to stay. That's what I believe. And he only did this so he can try to make you think that he's not a criminal. Now, he's got a week and those 3 days. So he's got 10 days to come up with the most unbelievable story in the universe for us to believe. Well, that's the problem, my ghost voice. I mean, that's where you got a problem with ties. All of my family's dead. Now, I do have property. If I skip out on court, they're going to take everything from me. I'm better off just going to court. Just saying. I was using me skipping as just an example. But, if I was charged with something, I would go to court. No problem. I've been to all of my court dates. I am adamant about that. I don't use email because of my condition. I have a problem with it. I use Instagram. Oh, shit. And see how I dropped the phone? That was my condition. And I'm glad and one reason why I use this phone is because it remembers many things, like my Instagram name. None of my cats has an eye infection, you son of a bitch. You're hit on this channel. Now bring me some more sock accounts to block. Wake up, honey. Just show me pretty eyes. So, no, I'm seeing. Now, do you see any crust in the kitty's eyes? No. Now, once again, anyone comes in here and says anything other than pretty kitty, you're blocked permanently. Well, they understand what yelling is. I'm not yelling at them. They hear me projecting my voice. Now, you see, I project my voice with them when I call them to eat. Now, when I go on most of the time, most of the year, I feed them on the deck. And I scream, come get dinner, come be a winner. And that's my feeding call for them. Checking out Summer. I think she's hunting a mouse. She hears prey. So you may hear some crash and bangs, and if so, it's Summer killing a mouse. Well, intuitive, she's just trying to scare me, where I'm desensitized to fear. I don't feel fear. I mean, it's like Jimbo trying to scare me. Like I said, I grew up 25 years in a horribly dangerous place. I mean, every day growing up, you had to worry about being killed when you walked out the door. The effect of that is I don't feel fear. I can fight someone with a gun, and there's not a bit of fear in me whatsoever. And these internet fucking morons try to do hyperbolic shit. Like I said, I only have to go with a cop if I want to go with a cop. Because I can whip the cop if I really had to whip the cop. Because the cop has knees. And the first thing you do is you take your left foot and you hit him in the side in the right knee just as hard as you can. And then you grab them by the collar, and then you grab the hand that's going for the weapon. You have them off balance, you wrench it out of their hand, you have them right there, you throw them for distance, and then you have a gun and they don't. I mean, I have that maneuver down fucking pat. You know, I'm left-handed, you take your left leg and you kick that right. Their gun's facing you here with their gun over here. You bring that down, you grab them by the collar, like I said, you wrench that gun out of there, you throw them like this, and then you're the man with the gun. And I've never been shot. And it don't matter how big the motherfucker is, once you kick him in that knee, the bigger he is, the better he is. Honestly, because it hurts him more. It makes him off balance. So that maneuver right there, it don't matter how big you are. That always works. Matter of fact, the bigger the better. Because of their weight and balance, makes that maneuver easier. So that's why I have to laugh. I mean, for me, combat is economy of motion. You know, he who wins combat is the one who wins economy of motion. That is really what most combat comes down to. Not, am I a martial artist, or I got all this training, or I was a Marine. No, combat comes down to economy of motion. Now, for example, I don't get to do my intellectual content here, but you know what made the Romans badass? They would take a shield together. They would get all their shields, and they would just walk forward and stab. Stab, twist, stab, twist, stab, twist. And this is what the Roman legions would do. Remember, they had that little sword? They would get all their shields together, and they would walk up, and it would literally just be stab, twist. And this is what they would do to the enemy lines. I mean, you know, it doesn't look good on TV, but that's what the Romans would do. They would take their shield wall, and they would just stab and twist and just stab forward. And that's how they would win battles, with economy of motion. And the barbarians were usually using hacking weapons. You know, their motions were like this. But the Viking, or once again, you bring it up to heck, I just stab you right there and then go on to the next barbarian. And this is what really made the Roman legions dangerous, was the fact that they used their shields for protection and they used their little swords with economy of motion. They didn't swing it around, they just did this. and they just walk forward, stabbing like this. Once again, economy of motion is what wins battles. It don't matter how big you are, it don't matter how tough you are. He who masters the economy of motion is going to be victorious. Well, yes. Well, it was the big shield. The shield's what saved them. If they didn't have the shield in the formation, that little sword would have did nothing but get you killed. But that little sword, when you put all those shields together, you could slip that little sword, like I say, you just twist a little bit outside of that shield, and I make a gap like this that I can slide my sword out and stab you. And once again, that is what made the Roman legions formidable to the barbarians. Now, once again, I just threw that in for something educational, but to be honest, I kind of do get tired of talking drama crap all the time, and we have basically covered the importance of Ernie. And there's not really much to talk about, so we'll probably just go in a minute, rather than me just drag this out for dragging's sake, because I normally don't do that. Now, I'm going to check and see if there's any sort of a interesting audio on, but I don't expect there going to be. I'm just doing this just in case. You know what? I've not seen Milton's channel. Just a minute, everyone. Because Milton was doing such horrible... Nah, it's still there. He's got 725 subscribers now. Huh. In 4 days, it went way down my list. I didn't see it. So for a minute, I'm like, did Milton get canceled? Because he had done enough shit to where, I wouldn't have been surprised if his channel had gotten terminated. But no, it's not terminated. Milton's just there and on break. Damn, Slobby and Horley, you're already gone. Oh, well, we'll miss you. Now, this is another... Now, before I go, there is a funny bit of drama. I mean, I wished Bob a happy flight yesterday, and Lori made a post saying that I was wishing death on Bob. I mean, I just wished Bob a good flight. Everyone in the comments wished Bob a good flight. I mean, and Lori just got up there and completely lied and slandered, saying that we were wishing death upon Bob. I mean, now, in reality, I did it that way just because I knew Lori. I knew if we wished Bob a good flight, that Lori would still try to claim that we were wishing death on him. And she bid on it. But, when I get to my Bob and Lori coverage, when we talk about them, that's a little nugget I'll be saving for it. Bob lives in California. He went to visit Lori in Canada so they could breed. Well, I just thought of two things to say, but both of them were against terms of service. And they both involved Bob and Lori breeding. So I'll let you think on that, and I'm going to go here right now, and I might have some kind of a video later, and you'll probably see me around chats, and I'd say you probably won't see me till tomorrow, but I broke my toe and I can't put on my shoe, so if nobody's live later this evening, I might be. But if someone else is, I'm not, but since I can't wear my shoe right now, I really don't have much to do today. So, you know what? I think I'll read a book. Yes, that's what I will do. I will read a book. Now, everyone, thank you for coming, and I'll probably talk to you later.